Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. So a lot of you guys are asking me how I ended up working while I was in nursing school and want to know a little bit more about my personal life while I was in nursing school. So I decided to dedicate this video to that. I'm not going to get too in-depth about like my whole personal life while I was in school, but I will talk about what I did for work while I was in nursing school. So before I even started my nursing program, I went to go get my CNA certificate because I wanted to work in a hospital as a CNA for like at least a year before I graduated nursing school to add it to my resume so I could look desirable. So I got my CNA certificate in like October of 2016. And then I had to go take the test and whatnot. And once I finally got that all situated, I ended up working at Mount Sinai Hospital in Chicago. And I started at Mount Sinai in about end of December, and I worked there until like the middle of February. So I was working there for like 2 months while I was in nursing school because I started nursing school at the beginning of January. So I was working there, and I also was still working at the club at the same time. I had been working in the club for like going on 5 years this year. I was doing them both, and I was in nursing school. So I ended up leaving the hospital because they wanted me to work overnights on the weekends, and I was only working in the club like overnights on the weekends, and I couldn't afford to stay in the hospital because I was only getting paid like $12 an hour as a CNA, and in the club I'm making like way more money just based off my tip. So I literally couldn't afford to stay in the hospital, even though that's what I really wanted to do at the time. But I couldn't do both. I could only do one, and I lived by myself, take care of myself, so I had to just stay with the job that was making me the most money. So I stayed at the club, and I ended up leaving the hospital, which I didn't want to do. I really liked working at Mount Sinai. I worked on the med-surg step-down unit, so I saw a lot of trauma patients, stab wounds, gunshots. It was a lot for a new nursing student, and I really felt like I was learning a lot of stuff there, but I just couldn't do it. So I ended up leaving that, and then I've been working in the club the whole time that I was in nursing school. So I only work on the weekends. I'm a bartender, so like the weekends is the time that people want to go out, so that's when I would go to work. At first, I probably was working like Thursday through Sunday, and then towards the end of the program, it really was just like Friday and Saturday. There were times where I picked up shifts during the week, like on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday, or a Thursday. And I really didn't like to do that because I have clinicals. Well, I had clinicals during the week. So I might have clinical on a Thursday and be working on a Wednesday night, which this happened where I was working every Wednesday for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks straight. And I had to be at clinical on Thursdays at 6 in the morning. So I had to be at clinical at like 6:30. So I had to leave my house at like 5:30 in order to get there in time. So I would get home from work on Wednesday night. I would get home around like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning and have to just be up in 2 hours. And I did that for like 3 to 4 weeks. And that was, I couldn't do it because I would be so tired on Thursday at clinical. And clinical is really important, you guys. Like clinical is where you get hands-on experience. And this is the stuff that you actually could put on your resume. Looking for a new job is all this experience that you learn in clinicals. This is when you learn to give shots and, start IVs and prime the IV lines and all that stuff that you learn about in school. This is when you get a chance to do it. So you really want to be in your A game in clinicals. And you also can get references from your nurses and your clinical instructors for when you do graduate. So it's important that you go to clinical prepared and ready to work, basically. So I was going to clinical tired, sleepy, and just not feeling it. So I had to stop working on Wednesdays because it just wasn't working for me. So most of the times throughout my whole program, I was only working like Friday and Saturdays, maybe Sundays, but just the weekends. And I would work from like, 8 to 3 in the morning or 6 to like 2 or something like that. And I did that for the whole 16 months. So for like a program like the one I went to, an accelerated full-time program, you're a full-time student from Monday through Friday, you're in school, and the weekends still count as school. Like even though you're not in a classroom setting, you still doing schoolwork, whether it be writing a paper or, taking a quiz or, doing homework. It's still school hours, and it takes a long time. So the weekends for me wasn't a time for me to catch up on schoolwork and study because I had to be at work. And if I'm working on Friday, I'm not getting home till like 5 in the morning. I'm sleep all day Saturday till like 2 o'clock. And by the time I wake up on Saturday, it's almost time for me to get ready to go to work. So it's definitely hard. And I will say, like, my grades definitely reflected that a couple of times where, I was at work and I was tired, so I missed class, or I was late for an exam, or I didn't perform as well because I was so sleepy. So it's not like it was just so easy to work. It wasn't. It was hard, and I hated the fact that I had to go to work and go to school at the same time. I wish that I had just, like, thousands of dollars stacked up where I could go to my little stash and pay all my bills and still go to work. It wasn't like that for me. And, I think most of the people in my class didn't work. They had like a strong support system that helped them while they were in school. And that's ideal. If you have that, then, really take advantage of it now. I needed to go to work. Like, I just couldn't not work and go to school. So I had to do both. But if you can, like if you do have a support system or somebody who wants to help you while you're in school, then definitely take it because it's really stressful to be going to work. Like the last thing that I wanted to think about was how I got work in the morning and I got an exam and like it's like too much. My schedule was too tight. And there's a lot of people who are not going to understand that and who are not going to help your schedule be flexible. They're going to try to tear you down. They're going to tell you they don't care that you're in school. And those people you just kind of have to like get past or, swallow it or just leave. Do whatever is the best for you. I had to, swallow my pride a couple of times and, close my laptop while I was working and just continue to work and not say nothing. And then there was times where I just had to leave because school is more important. That's my priority at the end of the day. And I don't know how I'm going to end up paying my phone bill if I leave work, but I'll figure it out later. And I had that attitude sometimes, and it all worked out. My bills still got paid, and I still graduated. But it's definitely hard. What else? So they're definitely going to, discourage you from working while in school, which you shouldn't. It's already too much. Like nursing school is already hard. It's already a lot to handle, alone. You need that extra time. You need those weekends and, you need those other days to really study in. If you have lecture Monday through Thursday, you need to be at home going back through your lecture notes, reading those chapters, whatever was covered, to prepare you for your exams and for your clinical. So I definitely wish I didn't have to work while I was in nursing school. A lot of people are not able to, like, maybe get, like, a weekend-only job, but if you do have to work, if you're, like, somebody like me who doesn't have a choice but to work while they're in school, I highly recommend you get some type of weekend gig where you only have to go to work on the weekends and, just try to make as much money as you can because it's already hard enough to do that. I can't imagine having to go to week, I can't imagine having to go to work during the week too and still go to school. Like, that's absolutely too much, especially if you plan on doing an accelerated program like I did. Try your hardest to minimize your work because it's hard enough getting through nursing school when you're not working. So, yeah, there were times where I was at work typing up papers, essays on my phone and taking quizzes on my phone. And there were times where I brought my laptop with me to do homework. And, everybody in the club knew that I was in school because I always talked about it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm taking the test right now. Like, give me 1 minute. And people would be like, taking a test. And I'm like, yeah, like, I got to get through my school stuff. I don't want to work here forever. And I always kept that in mind. Like, I wanted to get out of that. It's not something that I could see myself doing forever. So, school was always my priority. And that's what always motivated me to do both and juggle going to school and going to work. Because it takes a lot of determination to, get it done. And somebody like me, I live on my own. And I wasn't trying to go move back in with my parents. But, maybe if you know that you can't work while in nursing school, your main focus should be finishing nursing school, so that you can get a job. So maybe if you got to live back with your parents for, a few months, then just do what you have to do to get through nursing school. If you can find a job that you don't have to work, like every day, then focus on doing that then rather than focusing on working, full time because it's going to be tough. I think that from the outside looking in, a lot of people that follow me on Instagram think that like I was having so much fun, and it didn't look like I was really stressed out with school because I was still going to work and at the club with loud music and drinks around me and stuff. But it is not that peachy. Like looks can be deceiving. Like going to work in a club is hard because yeah, it might be temptations for me to have a couple of drinks, but then it's like, if I drink, what time am I going to get up in the morning? And I know I got to study for this test, or I might have clinical. Like, absolutely not, and there was times I caved into temptation, and, I had a drink or two, and then I got up later. So, the most important thing that I can tell you guys is just to stay focused and just to have that end goal in mind that you want to get done with school. You don't want this to be a forever thing. So, whatever sacrifices you have to make in order to get done with school, those are the sacrifices that you should just be focused on making so that you can get school over and done with and you can be ready to sit for your boards like I'm ready to do in 3 weeks and work as a nurse. So, I hope I answered all you guys' questions. If I missed something, just shoot me a message on my Instagram or leave a comment below and I'll try to address it in the next video. But thank you guys for watching and don't forget to subscribe.